one of the number one reasons why people stop podcasting is because they go into podcasting with this idea that they're going to make so much money and podcasting is going to put them on the map and podcasting is just going to bring their careers to the moon. But the mistake that people make is that when it comes to podcasting, they're not podcasting correctly. They're creating the wrong type of content and putting out the wrong type of episodes. And the type of content that they're putting out on their podcast really is not helping them get the word out there about their show, about their services and the things that they do so they can actually monetize their podcast. So today I'm sharing with you 3 juicy ideas on how to create engaging episodes that actually get you to make money and monetize your podcast. Let's do this. Okay, so you might be wondering, what do you mean there's like the wrong type of podcast and what are you talking about? So let me help you with this. Starting a podcast just for the sake of starting a podcast is not going to do anything for your business unless you are podcasting smart, unless you're actually putting time and energy to make sure that your podcast is a solid foundation to actually do the marketing for your business. What I see people doing is that they'll spend time on LinkedIn, on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and they're doing all this marketing, promoting their businesses and they're networking and they're sending DMs and all these things. When it comes to their podcast, they're doing something totally different that almost doesn't fit in with their vision for their business. So they have become motivational speakers. They are doing a lot of interviews. They're just talking, and their vision for their podcast is not coming to fruition because how they're podcasting is not obviously bringing them any return on investment. So podcasting does work. Podcasting is great. This is how I get my business to grow every single month. This is how I get my clients, but there is a smart way to podcast and to put out episodes that people actually want to hear. So the number one type of content that you can put out to actually attract people to come work with you is to air old coaching calls that you have had with clients, or maybe live coaching calls if you were inside of a group program, because what that does is that it puts you in the space where people actually know how you help them. They know your style. They can see the other person and the breakthroughs that the other person's having, and they can envision themselves in that position, and they know from that interaction that you are the right coach for them. A lot of people might feel nervous about putting out this type of content out on the interwebs, but I'm here to tell you that if you go back and listen to a ton of episodes that I have on my own show about live coaching calls that I have done with my own clients, you see that it's actually super helpful for other people to understand my style, how I help, and what a coaching session with me is. Because one thing is for sure, what I don't want is for somebody to hire me and we are not a match and they should have maybe gone with somebody else or whatever the case may be. I want people to actually get a taste of what it is like to work with me before they actually work with me. And those coaching calls, they do a lot of the heavy lifting for me, because those past coaching calls are like sales calls for me. So I'm putting out content that is helping people, number one, but it's actually also serving as a sales call and converting people into actual clients because they see how I work and they see my methodology and they just want to work with me. So consider putting out old coaching calls that you had with your clients, or past replays from like live coaching calls that you had with a group or something like that, or even like for masterminds or whatever other events. Just make sure that you are getting a release, especially if it is from one-on-one coaching. You want the other person to be okay with the fact that you're putting out a call out in the interwebs. So before you go posting anything, just make sure that you have permission to do so. The second type of really amazing episodes that you can put out on your show that will actually convert listeners into students, into buyers, into consumers of the products and services that you have available is for you to put out episodes where you are highlighting somebody else's success. So let's say you are a coach or of any sort, whether you're a business coach or maybe you're a non-toxic living coach, a minimalist living coach, a motherhood coach, whatever. You can bring on a client that you have helped You can bring on a past client to your show, and during that interview, you can let people know this person was in this stage when they started working with me. And of course, this is happening in a conversation style. And then things that they were struggling with, things that they wanted to work on, their goals, what happened inside of the program. Did they have any huge breakthroughs? Were they frustrated with you? Was that moment of frustration like actually a breaking point for them that actually made them realize something bigger? So highlighting those things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because of course now this person's on the other side and they've had huge success and they've had a breakthrough and they're excited to promote you to other people, and you actually get to highlight them. What this does is actually normalize how you work with people and other people's success, because sometimes there can feel such a huge disconnect between the student and the coach, and it just feels like, oh my gosh, I'm like working with this coach and they might be super high level and I'm not sure I'm ready to work with them. But if you bring somebody who has a lot of their same pain points, you can actually normalize working with you. You can normalize problems. Another problem that we have in general in business is that I have this problem and I'm the only one with this problem and nobody else in the world has this problem. So by you actually bringing on a student from a past program, whether it's one-on-one or group or whatever, you can actually normalize that you're not alone and we all have this problem and we can overcome this problem, most importantly. And obviously the logical solution is to work with me because you have seen me, how I have worked with this person and how now they are on the other side of the coin and they have overcome their problems and they're happy and they're excited and they have a solution to their problem. The third type of content that you can put on your podcast is tips and tricks, like things that actually are behind a paywall so that people, again, can really get a feel for how you work. So a lot of times you see people posting content maybe from a book. Maybe they have put out content that is from a course. So maybe like part 1 of module 2 or whatever, so that people actually understand that when you pay me, this is the kind of content that you get. Because a lot of times you can, for example, let's say you're listening to me on these episodes and you're getting a lot of valuable information, and you may think that everything that I'm saying here is everything that I know and there's nothing else to learn from me, when in reality, there's so much more inside of my courses. So highlighting those things and putting those things out so that people know, like, hey, when you work with me, this is the level of expertise that you're getting. The things that I'm talking about inside of this course, I have not talked about it for free. So while, yes, make sure that your content, is amazing and super helpful, every once in a while, letting people know this is the kind of content behind the paywall. So if you think the free stuff is good, look, this is what I have behind a paywall, and you're going to be amazed at how much I have available and how I can actually help you go deeper in your life. And this is great whether you're doing a course or you're doing like a one-on-one, and maybe you have like a mix of methodologies where you have some pre-recorded courses for your one-on-one clients or maybe your group coaching clients, and people can actually see how you work, how your brain operates, and how you are in that knee-deep situation where you're actually helping people and you're dishing out everything and you're holding nothing back. So consider creating these 3 types of content for your podcast to actually highlight your expertise and put you at the top and make you top of mind the next time that so-and-so has a problem and they need you to come and help them. Because this is the type of content that puts you in the thought leadership category, rather than you just interviewing people left and right, which, by the way, I have nothing against doing podcast interviews. I think those are great and there is a time and a place for that. However, if the goal with your podcast is to actually promote your services, your products, your books, your merchandise, you do want people to get to know who you are. How is it that your ideas differ from everybody else's ideas? Put yourself in the category where you are actually sharing thought leadership and your original ideas and things like that. So people actually can connect with you and know that you are the no-brainer choice for them. By the way, I talk about this in depth inside of my courses, Rock Your Podcast or Rock Your Podcast Launch. And if you're wanting to launch a podcast, Rock Your Podcast Launch is a course for you that will teach you how to launch and grow your show. And if you already have a podcast and you're past that launch phase, then go ahead and grab Rock Your Podcast, because this is the knowledge that I have gathered from years of podcasting and years of owning a podcast management agency. I have a lot of data, a lot of research, a lot of things that I have tried out over the years. And I have put all of the knowledge inside of this course. So you have the exact roadmap and you know exactly what you need to do to have a top ranking podcast that is organically being found in search, that is ranking high on Apple, that is being promoted by Apple to other listeners. So this is the course that you want to get into if you just want the shortcut, if you just want the roadmap and you just want everything in one place. And within a few hours, you know exactly what to do in your show so that you have a show that actually works for you, that brings you the clients, that brings you all the boys to the yard, if you know what I'm saying. My love, I really hope that this episode has been super insightful. Until next time, may you find God's love, peace, grace, and mercy, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.